Okay, I didn't even stop the stream, guys. I don't know why it stopped, but maybe now it's streaming. Hopefully now it's actually streaming. Let me see. I don't know what's going on. Okay, looks like
the audio's back.
Okay, the audio's back. Now this is the actual beginning. I don't know if there's gonna be like two accidental streams going on, guys. So, but thanks for bearing with the technical difficulties. I think we're now actually back. So this is Andres Restart. If this is your first time here, then that's Brandon from What About Nintendo.
Hey guys, how you doing?
The link to his channel is in the description below, and you're already at my channel, so yeah. But this is podcast number 37. I am numbering them now. But Brandon, you had brought up that we have been on the longest break yet, and I was gonna say that since the branding change, since I guess you know for this numbering system, right? The 37 podcasts we've done. I remember we took a break. Actually, it may have been a break even before. I don't know. But, no, there's no way it's been 37 weeks since December, right? No way. No. The math doesn't work out. No. But in December, we took a break for Christmas, basically, like the holidays. That was a 2-week break. We came back. So this has been an equivalent long break to that. And when we came back, the podcast grew significantly. Just, you know, what's that phrase? I don't know, something about the fondness. Alexander White just subscribed. I don't know if he's watching the podcast or one of the other videos, but thank you. And if I didn't lose any subscribers, I think I just hit 1,300. So, woo. Anyways, yeah, we have this. I don't know that this is. Going back to the question, there's been 3 breaks. The 2-week break for Christmas, the 1-week break after E3, and then a 2-week break that I just came back from because I was moving. And yeah, this is a new place. You know, this is not going to be the official room tour, right? But I got a couple new posters. Charmander's now above my bed. He doesn't fit on the door anymore. The room is a little bigger, but it's like not as long, but it's deeper. Right, and the lighting is different, so if it looks like my camera is better, it's because the lighting in the room is brighter, but it also washes me out. So there's different things I gotta work on, but you know, yeah, I'm like the place. The place is a lot nicer overall. Parking's a bitch though, but whatever. It's a whole other issue. Whole other issue. But what's up, guys? Hey, Captain Steve. Hey, Sabbath. Hey, Severial. Hey, Blackstar Dude. Typically awesome. Hello. So yeah, you know, we definitely have some questions to talk about. You know, I made a Mario Kart video like yesterday, and the question was posed, you know, because I actually don't think that Mario Kart 9 is going to happen on the Switch, but some people do. So we're going to get into that in a little bit, among a whole bunch of other things. But, Brandon, is there anything you want to kind of just jump into? There's something you were telling me about, actually, about Tingle and horror.
Yeah.
Fill me in, because I've been a little out of the loop, buddy.
Right. Just something I thought was kind of crazy, just a short little thing. But apparently Nintendo, I mean, they've made Tingle games before, but they were mostly in Japan. Apparently, just like 8 years ago or so, they were working on a Tingle horror game. I don't remember. It had to have been for like the end of the Wii's life, or maybe the beginning of the Wii U's. But like they were actually working on a Tingle horror game, and they said that they were working on it for a few months. And then they canceled it for, they said, various reasons. I don't think it's too hard to kind of guess why.
No, I don't know.
Apparently he was going to be the starring character of a horror game, because that makes total sense.
Well, what kind of horror are we talking about? Are we talking, well, I don't want to be... Because Tingle's weird, man.
Right?
Like, he's weird. Like, we all know he's weird, right? But, like... Maybe they thought it would be insulting to people, because Tingle, he's like, he's a fairy man, right? Like he's a man who dresses up in too revealing of tights, and he wants to be a fairy boy. So, you know, while that's really weird, I feel like if you think about today's culture, right, how we've become more and more open to different like styles of life, maybe Nintendo's like, hold on a second, if we release this game that's maybe gonna sort of touch on the Tingle factor and the oddity of him more, that they might have thought that it would have been too controversial. I could see that, you know, becoming a little bit of a PR nightmare, and maybe not going with the image that Nintendo wants to be, which isn't just child friendly, right? It's family friendly and allowing different audiences, but that would have been kind of a PR nightmare. I could see that kind of going, you know, that could be potentially an issue. What do you think about that? Am I just way out there, or?
I did not even think about that at all. It kind of makes sense. Like, you have a good point. It's just not something that I personally thought of. I was just like, who would buy this? That was my thing. Like, what is the audience for a Tingle horror game? That was my thing. I mean, like, obviously there'd be people out there just like, this is so crazy, I have to get it. But, like, I don't think this would have had a very big audience. I don't think it would have sold very well, especially since I think it would have come out, like, the end of the Wii's life. And it's like, the Wii audience... I don't think the Wii audience wants a Tingle horror game. Or wanted a Tingle horror game.
No.
You know? No.
I
think that was the problem.
I think they had a better shot now.
Probably, that's what I was kind of touching on when I talked about it in Coffee Talk a couple of days ago. And I was like, maybe it would do well now. Maybe they should boot that back up, see how it sells, because I'd be interested just to see how it plays. Like, I don't know if I'd actually want to buy it, but I'd be very curious to see what the hell it actually is.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious about it because, like, it's so different. Like, I'm sad it doesn't exist. I really want it to exist.
I hope somebody leaks some kind of.
Let's start a GoFundMe or something. But, yeah.
Yeah. What do they call those? Where you get funded to make a game. We should do that. We should make this Tingle horror game a thing.
Ooh, actually,
somebody should.
I just saw an interesting point by Zach is back. I'm gonna read your comment, man. So he just said the reason Mother 3 is dead in the water is because of something to do with trannies being offended by a section. So I don't doubt this Tingle thing was also screwed before, even if it was conceived. Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much the point I was trying to make, and that's another example of it. Fantastic point. So it probably would have been a PR nightmare because I feel like Tingle horror. Like, whatever kind of horror that's going to be involving Tingle, that's not, like, your typical, like, bloody horror. That's, like, something else. So,
psychological or something? I don't even know.
Yeah, but I can see how it could have been an issue. Like, I think it's pretty easy when you think of it in that regard, how it could have been an issue. So, yeah. Technically, it's not even a topic, but, a planned topic. Although we did suggest we might talk about it earlier, you and I. But, yeah, so... do you want to move on, or is there anything you want to kind of cover? I know you actually mentioned how Nintendo is planning on bringing out like 30+ eShop titles.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. They said they wanted to get like 20 to 30 indies on the eShop every week, which I think is just ridiculous. I think that's just too many games. There obviously is not going to be very much quality control there because there's no way you're getting 20 to 30 actually good indie games on the Switch every week. Like, I could understand like 10 to 20 a month. That'd be fine. Like, that'd be okay. But 20 to 30 a week, that's ridiculous. There's not that many good indie games. They just don't exist.
Yeah, so the thing for me, right, is that it's not... Because apparently Steam gets way more games, right? Like, their rate is even higher than that. So it can be done and it can be a successful platform. My issue is that even when I go on my Switch now, like, it already looks like I'm a mess. Like, there's so many games there, and because I'm kind of a video game journalist. Like, I know about the good ones, right, and the popular ones, and the ones that are even the good indie titles. But like, there are some things there that are clearly shovelware, right? Some things are just kind of rare gems that should be tried out, but there's just so much there that I don't even want to try any of it a lot of the time.
Right.
So I think the eShop needs a huge overhaul from several factors. One, organization, because if they do the 20 to 30 indie games a week, they need to create an entire separate section for indie titles. Like that cannot cloud up. For example, like when Wolfenstein 2 came out, right? Like, that's like a big $60 game, and then all the indie titles just kind of flooded it out from the eShop, front page. So then, when you have these big, huge $1 million+ budget games or multi-million-dollar budget games, and then they're flooded out after not even a few hours or something, or a day on the eShop, I don't think that's good. So I think they need to like organize things differently, but also I think they need to. There are demos on the eShop, but I think they need to come up with a system. Maybe just
they need a whole tab for demos.
They need a whole
tab. I have to specifically look for games, and then specifically put the one that says, the little filter says games with demos, and then still it's just like, Oh, it's dumb. They need to have like, okay, genres. They need like action, action and adventure, platforming, racing. They need genres, and you
Absolutely.
go and you just go through a list of recent games. They should have a rating system so that people who we can rate, see what games are actually good, what games are shovelware, and then they could the top rated games should come up first, like stuff like that.
I think
They
a
need
simple
that.
5-star rating system would be
Yeah,
fine. Like I feel like they want to try something revolutionary.
doesn't need to be revolutionary.
Just needs to
Like the
work.
Wii U, I could find games that I wanted to play on the Wii U shop. Like it wasn't hard. You just go on there, you pick a
Right, but the
genre,
library is also a
and you
lot
found it.
smaller.
Yeah, but I mean, like just the way it was laid out is a lot better. Like it had genres,
Yeah,
had ratings, I think, and
that's
stuff like
true.
that. So
Like the eShop is kind of falling short compared to even Nintendo's previous standards, which is bad because
yeah,
their standards were never really that good to begin with compared to the
right.
competition. So yeah, no, I totally agree. I think separating it by genres is the least they could do. And I was also trying to make a point that I feel like, especially for indie titles like the ones that I've never heard of, that I think they basically need to have like a demo set up for each game. Like there needs to be a way for everyone to try out each game because like there's just so many different games out there. Like why am I going to spend money on something that I've never heard of ever? Right? Am I supposed to simply rely on 2 images and a 2 to 3 line summary? Like that's not gonna get me to spend any money on something if I don't know about it. I feel like the rating system is one way to kind of facilitate that, but I think encouraging more demos would be great.
Right.
Maybe I think I mean that's what I think. Like
and Steam and Xbox, they have a kind of thing where if you play the game for less than like 2 hours and you don't like it, you can just get a refund. You can get a straight refund.
That's a very interesting idea. I like that. That is one way they could do it for sure. Yeah, I could see that happening. I don't know if the eShop developers will like that, right? Because there'll be something like, oh no, now there's more pressure on us to, like the things with eShop games. Some eShop games are pretty short. Like if it's 2 hours, there are some eShop games that you kind of get, like if it's a $1 eShop title, right? Like 2 hours, you probably can get the satisfaction you would have gone for it if you just bought it. You would have been able to get it within 2 hours probably, and then most people could just exchange several times. So there needs to be. I like the idea, but they need to structure it a little differently, or have make it a bit more nuanced depending on what the title is. But definitely, I think that's something they should try out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have it be shorter, maybe 30 minutes or an hour or something. Or it could be different.
Depending
it could vary
on the price.
by game in price and stuff, yeah. So
Yeah.
there's things that they could do. And it wouldn't, honestly, most of it wouldn't be hard. Like adding genres and a rating system, that's not hard. A programmer could do that in all of a day. Like, it's not hard. They just need to actually go ahead and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, who was it they brought up? Yeah, Sabbath. I think they should add background music to the eShop. Something we've all been talking about. I think I guess the point of contention is that it might take up too much RAM. I don't know. I don't see how, because the Switch is way more powerful than the Nintendo Wii and the 3DS, and they had background music, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem.
I guess the thing is that you could use the eShop while your game is suspended, and maybe that creates issues. I don't know. I feel like it shouldn't. I feel like music can be really basic too. Like we're talking about kilobytes here, right? We're talking about kilobytes.
Yeah.
Like, so I think it's probably just something they haven't. I don't know. I don't really know why they haven't done it yet.
I don't know why either.
They haven't done a lot of things yet.
So weird.
There's
a lot of weird little things. It's like, okay,
there's still no YouTube app. There's no
if you just buckle down, take a week to do all this stuff, you could have like so many different improvements that they're not even hard to do. You just haven't done them for who knows why. Just sit down, like take a week or two, get all these things figured out, and then it'd be all good. Like it's not hard. It's not like it's some kind of massive undertaking. It's all these little things that you could just sit down, like get those done, iron those out, and you'll be good to go. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand. I don't.
I'm so confused.
It's very weird, but it's Nintendo, so that's your reason.
Right.
That's the reason, guys. So yeah.
Because Nintendo. I
think we all agree that they need to fix the infrastructure, make it better. Absolutely. Oh, Savage just asked an interesting question. So what do you guys think about yesterday's Nintendo Direct? Lol, hashtag sarcastic. So I really, technically, it's going to tie into the final topic of the night, but I'm going to say I never thought it was happening. Anyone who thought that the Direct was going to happen on a Sunday, it's never happened on a Sunday.
No, yeah. I called it, dude. I made a video of my predictions of when I actually think a Nintendo Direct's going to happen. I was like, hell no, it ain't happening on a Sunday in July, like the month after E3. Like, that's not happening. I don't know why people would think that was actually going to happen, but it was pretty obvious that it wasn't.
Yeah, and as for typically awesome, what you're saying, 2018 is basically a poor indie year for Nintendo, but maybe 2019 will be better. But 2018 was amazing. I think it means 2017. I think you mean 2017, even though there have been some great parts of 2018. But yeah, 2017 was historical.
Oh yeah. 2019 seems like it's going to be a really good year. Everything that we thought was going to make 2018 a really good year got pushed to 2019. So it's just like everything that we know about is like all coming out seemingly 2019. So I think that's just going to be packed.
Here's the thing. I was kind of thinking that was going to happen this year. And there's so many. I feel like some of those games are just not going to make it. Like they'll be delayed or just like, for example, Bayonetta. It could end up being a 2020 title, right? Animal Crossing may not be announced until way later. I'm not trying to be like a negative Nancy. I'm just saying like some of these games aren't confirmed for 2019 yet, and that includes Metroid Prime 4, which at this point I might as well create I might just start like praying and creating like a ritual because like. I really, really want that game, but, technically speaking, it's not even announced for 2019, confirmed for 2019 yet. Well, I do think it will make it. I'm just saying, like, a lot of these games, I'm just saying, maybe we shouldn't assume that every game that we think is in development or is currently in development is going to make 2019. I do still think that 2019 is going to be better than 2018. I agree 100%. I think most of those games have a great shot at making it. I'm just simply saying... Let's not get our expectations too high, because we did that for 2018. At least for me, and look what happened, right? So,
I didn't. Like, as soon as I saw, like, the lineup for 2017, I was like, how are they going to have anything for 2018? And I was kind of like, maybe because Nintendo said that they were going to, they promised that they would keep a consistent schedule. I was, like, hopeful. But, like, after they
still so held to the schedule for the most part.
Though. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it wasn't mind-blowing. I was kind of like, I kind of suspected 2018 was going to be a slow year, but I didn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to
and there still may be a Direct where they announce some stuff like a Mario Odyssey DLC, like a Mario Kart DLC. Some people are talking about Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, which I also have talked about and maybe want. I want it, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, there's still some things that they could announce that could make this year a little better. But there's, we're not going to, like, wake up tomorrow and there's going to be a Direct saying, hey, Metroid Prime 4, Bayonetta 3, and Pikmin 4 all coming out this year. Like, that's not going to happen. We might get some DLC stuff, maybe a port or a remaster. Maybe. That's, like, best case scenario. Maybe a couple third-party stuff, too. But that's like it. So
I think the third-party support's going to come in.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to just kind of like start going into the topics?
Yeah, I think we might as well.
So I decided to just call the first topic recent games because, well, one, I have not played Captain Toad or Octopath Traveler yet. I haven't had the money to buy either game. I've watched reviews for them and technically have Captain Toad on the Wii U, so I can talk about them for a bit. But I just kind of want to sum it up in one category so we can just kind of briefly talk about them a little bit. I know I think you got both of them, right? I saw on Twitter you got both of them. So I guess you'll kind of lead the way here. Which one do you want to talk about first for a bit?
Right here. Assuming people mess with my stuff. Hold on. I got them. Oh, no, there. Yeah. We could start with either one of them. Captain Toad might be better to start. It's kind of smaller title.
Okay. So,
Wii U port.
I like Captain Toad on the Wii U. I didn't beat it. I could still go and beat it, or maybe I'll buy it on the Switch. But from what I hear, it's not that different. It has some Odyssey levels, which add maybe like an hour or two of gameplay, right? Versus some 3D World levels. Like, isn't that like pretty much the main difference aside from quality of life changes to the way the controls work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mostly what's been changed is, they bumped the resolution up for most of the maps. It's 1080p now instead of 720p, so it looks a lot better in that regard. But I mean, like, whatever. And then you got the Mario Odyssey levels, which some people say you can beat in like no time. Then I've heard other people say that's bullshit. And actually, like if you get everything, you get all the, you get all the different collectibles and stuff. It can actually take you a good amount of time, and you don't just rush right through the levels. Then it's actually a good amount of content. But yeah, and they took out the 3D world sections, which the 3D world sections weren't really levels at all. They were just pretty much you ran around in 3D world. There were like a couple of different 3D world levels. You typically play as Mario and Peach and whatever, and you could run around with it and Captain Toad. Like that was all it was. Like it wasn't really much of anything. It was just kind of like, oh, cool, okay, that's kind of neat. It wasn't really anything special. Yeah. So, some people are upset that it's gone. Some people are like, whatever. I'm one of those people who are like, whatever. I don't really care. But I have yet to actually get to the Mario Odyssey levels. So I can't say for sure how they play, but I mean, the game plays really good, just like it did on the Wii U. I actually like, because on the Wii U one, there was a lot of interactions on the gamepad with the touchscreen, and you can do that if you play it in handheld mode. But if you're in TV mode, you just use the motion controls, and I thought it would be kind of clunky and weird with the motion controls, aside from touch. But it's actually not. It's actually really good. It feels really good. So I was pretty happy with that. Kind of surprised that it felt as good as it did, actually. So, I mean, if you liked it on the Wii U and you want to play the Mario Odyssey levels, it's a good buy. It's only $40. So if you didn't play it on the Wii U, I'd definitely
I'll wait until it's 20.
You wait till it's 20. I got it for 30. I got it for 30 because Best Buy's awesome. Or at least they used to be awesome before they stopped the Gamers Club thing. Okay. But I mean, like, I bought it on the Wii U, but I didn't beat all the levels, and it's been like years since I played this. So, like, I went back, and it felt like a brand new game because I didn't remember like anything about it. So, if you haven't played in a while, it might be worth getting it again. Or if you haven't played it at all, it's definitely a good buy, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think it's a great game. But since I already have it, I'm not gonna buy it unless I get it for a discount. That's just my stance on it. Yeah,
makes sense.
But again, if you haven't played the game, I think it's a fantastic game for $40.
Oh yeah.
Whew. And it's better. It's better on the Switch. From what I've heard, it's better. Like,
Yeah, it does play better, and it looks better, obviously.
Yeah, definitely go for it if you haven't played it on the Wii U. And if you have it on the Wii U, that's up to you. Right? I'm gonna get it when it's available for $20. That'll happen. I have faith. So someday, maybe it might take a couple years, but eventually.
Yeah, it definitely seems like one of those games. I think on the Wii U, it was one of the games that they had in like their Nintendo Selects. So
yeah,
look at this dope ass case though. It's so good.
So then Octopath, it's from what I'm hearing about it, the reviews have been pretty good from what I've seen, but I'm more surprised by public reception. Actually, it seems to be selling pretty well. It seems to be trending. And those are two things that I was not 100% would happen. It's one of those games that I felt like it was going to become one of those games that would be like a cult classic, like the people who played it realize how great it is, but not enough people will give it a shot. It seems like people are giving it a shot. But this, I haven't seen the numbers. I've just heard from a few articles that it's selling really well in certain locations, and I keep on seeing it talked about by different YouTubers and on Twitter, and it seems to be trending. So this is just my own personal, like, what I've seen so far, right? But it looks like the game has been received really well by the public, and it's actually going to get some success. And I think from what I haven't played the game, I've played the demo, right? So I've put in a few hours into it, but I haven't bought it yet because I'm poor. But like, I think from what I've seen, it's great, and I think it's gonna get. It looks like I'm happy that this is the kind of game that it deserves to get recognition. A lot of times these kinds of games don't get it, because sometimes because of the art style, or because it's not like a a very clear like open world, like super gritty, like with it's not it's a 2.5D style RPG, and I'm not knocking it for that, but I do understand there's a lot of people who will overlook it for that, and yet despite that, this seems to be doing really well, so I'm happy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I got the game. I haven't been able to play it as much as I would like, just because work, and there's other games that I've been working through and different things. So I've only put like 10, 15 hours into it, but it's really fucking good. Like, oh my gosh, it's so good. Like, everything we thought it was going to be, it's that, like, and more. Like, it's as good as I thought. Like, I've not been let down. I kind of had the issue at the beginning that it was kind of easy. It's kind of hard when you're by yourself. As you get more players, with you, more people along the way that you find, you see their story, and then you can have them in their party. The game gets kind of easier, But so I thought the whole game was just going to be like a cakewalk. I got 4 people. We're all really powerful, just wrecking everyone. And then I made the mistake of getting cocky and trying to go into a higher level area. And oh my gosh, everything was like every enemy was like a boss. It was so hard. Like I just got completely destroyed. I was like using up so many healing items and all my like special healing moves and stuff just to stay alive, and I barely survived one fight and immediately ran away. So like I kind of had this issue where I thought it would be easy, but no, the game is just there's some easy areas, but if you actually go into like the dungeons and stuff, it can get really hard.
That's good to hear because I like hard games, not easy games.
Yeah, all right, right, exactly.
Yes, it's that simple. I'm sorry, I'm simplistic. It needs to be hard. Oh,
Hmm.
it's easy, no buy. I didn't buy Kirby. Easy, no buy. Like that's
Yeah, that was
yeah,
my thing. I didn't
yeah.
buy Kirby either,
But I mean,
despite actually enjoying the
so
demo.
let me ask you then. So do you think it's structured in a way? Because you said some parts are easy, some parts are hard. Do you think it's structured in a way where, like, so for those that don't necessarily care about hard games, they just want a good experience, a good adventure, that they can play through it and enjoy the bulk of the main story without having to like, go crazy with difficulty, and that if they seek out the challenge, they'll find it, but they don't necessarily have to go
Mhm.
through it.
Actually, yeah, it's very much structured like that because most of the overworld, while you can run into some parts that are harder, like I don't think I've ever died to any regular enemies in the overworld. So when you're just running around and fighting enemies, like it's you're not gonna die probably, because you got healing items and stuff, and you can have a good time. It's still like fun, but it's not like so hard you're just gonna die over and over again. But there are certain areas that you can find and go to that are like certain dungeons, and they have really good equipment and stuff, but the enemies are really hard. And the only thing I would say, like if you're going through the story, some might have trouble in the bosses because those can be pretty hard and you have to fight them. But then the required bosses, from what I can tell, as long as you've actually taken the time to do a little bit of grinding, get a little get some decent levels, that you shouldn't have such a hard time that even a casual player won't be able to pass it after a couple tries. Because like I've had some trouble with the bosses. Like I've almost died to a couple of them. I've died to like a couple too. Uh, and I'd say I'm pretty experienced with RPGs, but it's not so hard to where if you've never played an RPG, there's no hope, or you don't play that many RPGs, there's no hope you could ever get past them. Like just do, if you can't get past the boss, okay, just get off of the boss, do a little bit of grinding on the easier enemies, and then go challenge it again when you're higher level. Like it's not something that's gonna be too difficult.
Okay.
There's ways to get around it.
Good. So yeah, I mean, it's okay. That's a great thing. It sounds like it has a great game design in that regard. You know, again for me, hard, easy. Like I said, easy is kind of an issue. But I saw that Sal was saying to not buy Captain Toad because it's easy. I've played most of it on Wii U actually, and like 60-70% of it, and like it's one of those games where even though I still find it a little challenging actually. Just even though it doesn't take me that long to kind of figure it out. I'm also 100%. I like to 100% levels. So for
Mhm.
me, like it's easy to just beat a level, but to 100% it's usually a little harder. So I
Right.
can still find value in games like that because they're easy to beat, but they offer a greater difficulty when you go for 100%ing it. You know, that's one of
Mhm.
the reasons why I really love the Super Mario games because they're really easy to go beat Bowser and save Princess Peach. Like I hate it when people say, "Oh, I beat Mario." Really? Well, how many stars did you get? Oh, 60. No, you didn't beat it. You should have
Yeah, yeah.
242. That you did 25% of the game. That doesn't count. Like
Mhm.
like that's how I am. Like so but I'm okay with that. I like Captain Toad. But it's that thing where games have a way to be both easy and hard at the same time. I think that's just the right balance because you want your game to be easy so everyone can have a chance at enjoying it, but of course, there's people who want that challenge, and so creating an avenue so they can find different ways to challenge themselves, within the context of the game, I think that's the best way to do it. And it sounds like Octopath Traveler is doing it from what you're saying, and that's
Yeah.
exciting. So cool. Well, I will be sure to let you guys know when I finally get the game. Maybe I'll stream it once I get my PC upgrade, but that may still be like a month away. So bear with me. But yeah. So you ready to move on, or is there anything we also want to touch on in regards to Octopath Traveler?
No, I think both of the games are really good, and you should check them out.
Cool. All right, so in that case, let me double check the chat before I move on to the next topic. But so Severio saying if the Switch is going to be alive for another 8 years or so, I'd hope there would be an MK9 somewhere. I see that point for sure. Devaluki saying that he wants Mario Kart 9, not Mario Kart 8 $80 DLC. So, you know, I'm not saying you're definitely entitled to wanting Mario Kart 9. I personally don't think we're going to get Mario Kart 9 on the Nintendo Switch. But we're going to get into that when we get to that topic. So, just, I guess, put a pin on that thought, and we'll be moving through these topics, because the last two topics are the big major ones. So we'll be there in maybe 20 minutes or so. Maybe. So let's talk about that Unreal Engine 4 update. Brandon, I'm hoping you're a bit more versed on this from what I know. Like, I've heard some people call it like the Fortnite engine or whatever. It's going to definitely optimize Fortnite for the Nintendo Switch. It's going to run better, hopefully look better, right? But it also, because it's an update on Unreal Engine 4 in general, a lot of games that are on Nintendo Switch run on Unreal Engine 4. And Nintendo Switch is like the Unreal Engine machine. So it's going to, like, across the board, improve performance for a lot of games on the Nintendo Switch.
Right, yeah. So when Epic, obviously they worked on Fortnite for the Switch, and they've been fiddling around for the Switch for a while now, trying to figure out, you know, how their engine works and what best ways to implement stuff. And, you know, they've had a lot of experience, and so what they decided to do is take all the experience that they've had and put it pretty much like at a engine level updates and fixes, so that pretty much any developer can see kind of their data, see what they did, kind of have even stuff that will be easier to implement these fixes and changes that they've done for, you know, the Switch in Unreal Engine 4. So these are kind of changes that can make any Unreal Engine 4 game run better on the Switch. These are things that they figured out more, you know, things about the CPU. One of the big things that they said is they made it to where there's less, you know, the CPU has to do less things when using Unreal Engine 4, because they figured out various tricks and things to take away CPU usage on the Switch. Those should help for a lot of games, because the CPU is one of the biggest limiting factors in modern consoles, whether it be the Switch or the Xbox One, the PS4, even the Xbox One X. The CPUs aren't that good. They just really aren't. So having something like a CPU having to do less work, having to have less draw calls, less is put onto the CPU of the Switch with this, that should make games frame rates and things higher. And not only did they do things for the CPU and the GPU and all of this to make games run better, but they figured out kind of different tricks to make it easier to make it quicker to put games onto the Nintendo Switch. Not only should games be looking better and running better with Unreal Engine 4, but they should be easier and even faster to make on, you know, for the Switch, or for whether that be a port or a brand new game. So definitely a lot of really good things there.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, like, I'm not even sure how major a topic this should be. So Unreal Engine 4 update. Games that run better. Okay, let's see it. Like, I played. Wait, has the engine update like gone into effect for certain games, or they need to be updated? Like, I played Fortnite the other day on Switch, and
that's on the developer themselves.
Like, has Fortnite been updated with these new perks? Because I haven't noticed. I played it once on Switch, and it seemed still kind of like a blurry mess.
Yeah, that's a game that they're continuing to work on.
Like, it's updated every week, so I'm sure like a month from now it's gonna be way better. Like, they already added gyroscopic aiming to it, which I don't think plays well, but I hope they optimize it throughout time.
Right.
Because, I mean, there are games once. That's the thing that bothers me, though, because I think people are going to try out the gyroscopic aiming on Fortnite because it's, like, super mainstream. People are like, oh, gyroscopic aiming sucks. Did you try it with Splatoon 2? Did you try it with Breath of the Wild? Did you try it with Doom? Did you try Wolfenstein 2? It works really well for those games. So I hope there are some people that aren't turned off gyroscopic aiming when they try it out on Fortnite, because on Fortnite, it's kind of janky. But I think, again, like you said, they're updating it continually, so hopefully, you know, soon it's improved upon. And it isn't something that they like advertise. You have to go and seek it out. So, you know, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue, but I imagine someone somewhere is going to be turned off the gyroscopic aiming because of this non-optimized gyroscopic aiming setup in Fortnite. And
Fortnite is something I could definitely see fixed a lot down the road. When it first got into the Xbox One and the PS4, Like, it ran at 30 frames per second. It didn't really look that good compared to the PC version. And it's got a ton of updates. They put tons of different graphical effects that weren't in the other versions. They've thrown those in the Xbox One, PS4. It runs at 60 frames per second now. It's better draw distance, better resolution. Everything has been updated for both of those systems. So I could definitely see that for the Switch version as well. And this is one of those updates that could help them out. And a lot of it is, when they worked on Fortnite, they kind of figured out more stuff about the Switch. So that was a big factor into it. So the more they work on that game, the more Unreal Engine 4 itself can be adapted, the more Fortnite can be adapted, the more any game that runs on that can be adapted better. So it's just all around a good update.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm excited to see the advantages of that throughout time, but I guess there's not too much to say on it now, so I'm ready to move on. Yeah? Alright, so there's been some talk about the potentiality. There was an interview where he's questioned, but we didn't really get any real information. They said there's nothing to announce at this time. That's what Bill Trinham said. Basically, but the question is, sort of circulating the internets, will there be some sort of beta or demo for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? I think it's an interesting question. I'm not 100% certain either way. Brandon, do you have any ideas on this? Do you think it's happening? Are you not sure?
I don't see why it wouldn't happen. I mean, for like pretty much any game that's had like online functionality on the Switch has gotten one of these like beta like test things, whatever you want to call them, where you can actually play the game online. I mean, we got one for
Arms.
I think we didn't get
Arms,
one
for
Splatoon
2, and Mario Tennis Aces.
2. Yeah, Mario Tennis Aces. So like
not Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart was the only one. I think
Right.
it's Mario Kart was like came out like right after the Switch.
Right, it was basically a launch title. It's like launch window game, yeah.
Yeah. So that was, I think if it had been a couple months after, we would have gotten one for that too. But pretty much all the first party major online games have gotten one. And I think they really need to have one so they can show us, hey guys, I know it sucked on the Wii. I know online sucked on the Wii U. It was a mess. It was terrible. But look, play this little demo here of online. We'll show you how much the new online service really has improved, the online capacity for Smash. Look how much, look at the lag-free environment we've created here. Look how much better the frame rate and stuff is when you're online. Go test it out for yourselves. We don't have to tell you how much better it is. Here, just have the demo. The proof is in the pudding. Here you go. I think they really need one of those because I
agree with you. They should definitely do something to prove the online. But I'm seeing some of the comments right now in the chat, and I want to, I guess, distinguish something. So they like the Splatoon beta, the ARMS beta, or the test runs, whatever you want to call them. But I'm going to call them betas. They were limited time access demos. And I think that's actually the best way to handle it, because the thing is, like a couple of you have mentioned that if you get a demo, you could just have the demo until the game comes out. And see, that's the problem with a lot of demos. A lot of times developers don't want to release a demo for their game because they're worried that some people will just play the demo and they'll feel like the demo will satisfy them and they'll never buy the game. That's happened. That is why a lot of times we don't see demos for games. So, but what Nintendo's been doing with a lot of their multiplayer games like Splatoon and ARMS, they have these 2-day-long sort of online events where that's the only time you actually have access to them and you can play them in that way. I think that's actually the best way to handle it, and I think that's probably the way they're going to handle Smash Bros. This is another big online game like those games, and they're probably going to have it available maybe a couple times throughout the year, and it'll be like an online test run where you can play it for a couple days during a weekend. And that way they can prove the online and show that it has merit, and they've made great strides since the Wii U trash and the Wii trash in terms of Smash online connectivity. I think that makes the most sense, because if they offered like an actual demo you can download and have on your system, I don't see Nintendo doing that for Smash Bros. There's no need for Smash Bros. Because they don't need to advertise that game with a demo, I don't think. But a limited online run for a couple weekends in the year, I think that'll be the best way. And again, that's the way they handle Splatoon, ARMS, and Mario Tennis Aces.
That would definitely be the way they would have to do it, because if you just have a demo, Smash is one of those games where if you have an unlimited amount of time to play a demo, a lot of people, if you're just a casual Smash fan, you get Like, especially if they have like the E3 demo, that's a lot of stages that were in that demo. It was like 20, 30 stages. There was what, like 20 characters or something. Like most people, most casual fans would be like, why do I need to buy this game? You've given me all this content in this demo. And then they just wouldn't. Like, even the amount of small content we got in the 3DS one, I never bought the 3DS game because I just played the demo. And then if I wanted to play the full game, I just played it on the Wii U.
Yeah, I actually seen Mr. Dwayne's made a great point. Mr. Dwayne 191, he's saying that he doesn't want the game to get data mined. That's another point, though. Releasing a demo makes it easier for people to data mine the game, especially now that the Switch is hacked, right? Like, there's a hard hack for the Switch that they can't get around with just a software update anymore. Like, it'll be I'm sure it's going to be really easy to data mine a demo of Smash Bros. And find the characters, which really suck. I mean, personally, I don't understand why they can't just create, like, a separate game code that takes away all the hidden assets and characters. I don't know why they can't. Maybe that's just, like, too much work. I'm not a developer. Yeah. But, like, would it make it harder to data mine the game if it was just, like, a limited time run, like, like the Splatoon test fire and such? Or is it pretty much the same deal?
Because I don't think Splatoon was data mined until the game actually came out, and they had those limited time things. I don't think it would be able to be data mined if it was like that. Maybe. I mean, people are crazy, so it might be possible.
People are also getting banned though, who are found to be hacking their Switches, like permabanned from online, right? So, that might restrain the data mining. Again, I'm not a data mining expert, so I don't understand all the nuance to it. So if I'm missing something, by all means, share in the chat or in the comments for sure. So, but yeah, hopefully, I think the best way they're gonna handle is offer a limited time run. I think we're pretty much in agreement with that.
Yeah, I think they need one to show the online, because I'm worried about the online. Because you know how bad it was on the other systems that Smash has been on. So, like, Smash has never had good online, and you're making me pay $20 a year for online. It's like, I want to know that it's gonna be good.
Yeah. So I want to speed up the conversation a little bit. Is there anything you want to say to that, or before we move on?
No, I think that's good.
Okay, so there's actually one question Sam Does Gaming asks: who do you think will be the new characters? Who do you think the new characters will be? I'm assuming he means like the Smash roster. So I actually made a couple Smash roster prediction videos. Just check my main channel page, you'll see them. But just like right off the top, and for the record, the prediction I make a month ago, right, will probably be different, as time goes on. Like, as my mind will change, I'll see different pieces of evidence and such. But like right off the top of my head, characters I'm sort of rooting to make it into the game that I think have a decent shot. Rex and Pyre from Xenoblade, Banjo-Kazooie, yeah, predicting him. Right. I think, who else? That's it. No, that's a couple more. I think Dark Samus is a really good shot. At least one more Metro character I think is gonna make it into the game. If not Dark Samus, maybe Silex or both. Who knows? And I think there's gonna be another Donkey Kong character. Maybe two more Donkey Kong characters. The two most popular being Dixie Kong and King K. Rool. So that's a possibility. I also think what's his face? Man, my brain is farting. It's really bad. It's farting all over the place. It just completely slipped my mind what I was going to say. Wow. Remember. Like, I know this. It's not... I don't know why. A Castlevania character. Why... Not Alucard. Not Alucard.
Simon Belmont.
Thank you. I don't know why that slipped my mind, but although it'd be really cool if Alucard was in the game, but whatever. I think Simon Belmont. One Castlevania, probably Simon Belmont, but maybe another Castlevania character is possible. Yeah. So those are some off the top of my head that I think could make it into the game.
King K. Rool would be cool. Black Star dude.
Yeah.
He needs a return, anyways. He hasn't even been in Donkey Kong in a while.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just been kind of.
How cool if we got Gino? Like, that'd be so out there, but it'd be cool. Yeah.
I know a lot of people are rooting for him, so that'd be pretty hype.
Yeah, I technically didn't predict King K. Rool or Gino, but I said they might be possible in my prediction video. I'm probably gonna go back and revisit each of those individual characters and see the argument for them and kind of reassess the possibility of them making it to the game. Because King K. Rool, I've seen a lot of people making some pretty good arguments for him, so maybe he can make it in. Let's move on. So there's been this is a conversation that's been happening for quite some time already, but the conversation has ramped up because of recent interviews with Masuda. But basically, you know, people are kind of like on the fence about Pokemon Let's Go because is it too casual? Like, is it too casual? Have they casualized it too much? Like, they realized during development that the catching mechanic may be too challenging for a lot of players, so they decided to use a more Pokemon Go like mechanic. And of course, the idea is to bridge the gap between Pokemon Go players and casuals and standard Pokemon players, and try to create a game that invites everyone into the mix. But is this game is it too casual for your typical Pokemon player, right? And if it is, it probably still gets a whole bunch. But what do you guys think? Personally, I'm okay with this because I understand that there's a mainline Pokemon game coming in the future, and this game still seems to have most of the core Pokemon mechanics in place. So I'm gonna give it a shot and decide for myself. But I am a little concerned about the easy difficulty because Pokemon's already easy. So making it easier, not good.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've played a little bit of Moon, and it's just that game is so easy. There's no hope for difficulty in that game. If you grind even a tiny bit, which you kind of have to get new Pokemon. Why do you have a hammer?
I don't know. It was on my bed. I've been doing, it's moved into a house, so there's been things to hammer, and now it's in my hand. I do that. I sometimes just grab stuff randomly. I'm not a kleptomaniac, but I'm weird.
Yeah. Anyways, like that game, you kind of have to grind to catch Pokemon. You have to get into battles, and obviously, since you kind of are forced to walk through tall grass a lot of the time, like you're kind of forced to go into battles, and it's very easy to be like ridiculously leveled up, to where you just destroy everyone, and there's no hope of even one of your Pokemon dying a lot of the time. So like,
yeah,
to make it more casual is a bit. I think they need to go in the opposite direction. But I don't mind a lot of the changes they made. Like a lot of people complain that there's no fights for overworld Pokemon, and I don't really you can
fight. You can't fight legendaries though.
Yeah, legendaries, and there's the trainers. But I mean, like for wild Pokemon, there's no battle.
Yeah.
So, but I don't.
I would prefer that. I don't know. It just kind of it seems weird to me because you have these Pokemon in your party, but just kind of like you're not actually training them, right? Like, well, at least when you're battling wild Pokemon, it makes sense because like they're actually fighting. That would make them stronger, right? But when there's no actual action to make them stronger, it's just throwing balls at other Pokemon. How does that make the Pokemon in your party stronger? Like, in terms of, like, my head canon and the logic within that game world, it seems a little off to me. But at the same time, it's not like it's new. Catching does add experience, and there's candies involved and trainer battles. So there's different ways to, like, raise up your Pokemon. So between the 3 different ways, which is candies from the lab, trainer battles, and catching Pokemon, there's 3 different ways. So between the 3 different ways, I guess it'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make much sense, like, canonically and, like, logically, but I don't really care because anytime I'm fighting wild Pokemon, it's just kind of like, hold on, let me pick my weakest Pokemon, let me wilt out its health for, like, a million years, and then finally throw this Pokeball. It's just like, why can't I just... Or if you get lucky, you'll have one of those moves where it won't kill them. It's like, okay, you took one step away of me using this move. Like, okay, I hit one more button. There's just one less button to hit before I can catch Pokemon. It's like, okay, like, I don't... Okay, cool.
So,
like, it's not a big
I just
deal.
realized something, though. I just thought about it. This mechanic might actually make the game better. So, hear me out for a second, okay? A lot of RPGs suffer from this thing called grinding, right? The way the game is structured, if you watch some gameplay for Pokemon Let's Go, you can avoid pretty much every single Pokemon battle. Because you actually see the Pokemon roaming around, you can literally avoid them. And instead of jumping into a battle that can take steps and turns, you just throw chuck a ball at it. Like, it's way faster paced in that way. So, this mechanic on top of the roaming Pokemon, which are 2 separate mechanics, but together... They really streamlined the progression of the game, I think. And in that way, it might make the game better and more fun and less repetitive.
I actually really agree.
So in that way, it's really cool. So, that's just something to keep in mind, guys. Like, in some ways, this is good. Now, you could still, like, they could get rid of the ball throwing mechanic, and you could still battle wild Pokemon, and you could still avoid them because they're roaming around, right? So, like, they could go back to 2019, they could still be faster paced because if they have roaming Pokemon, you could just avoid them since you can actually see them now. But on top of the throwing mechanic, it does speed things up. So that's something to take into consideration.
And I mean, wild Pokemon battles aren't, at least when I've played, like, they're not fun. Like, it's what, 6 Pokemon against 1? There's no challenge there. There's no fun to be really had there. It's just like, okay, let me just destroy you real quick with my 6 Pokemon. And it's like, whoa, okay. Why do people care? Like, why do people care that that's gone?
Brandon, do you know about the Pokemon move False Swipe?
I've heard the name. I don't remember what it is.
Okay, so Severio just made a joke. He said False Swipe is going to be great, and let's go. False Swipe is a move. It's not a strong move. It's a weak move. It's an attacking move, but it has an effect where it can't actually kill a Pokemon. It will take a Pokemon down to 1 HP.
Right.
So why would that make sense? It only makes sense if you catch Pokemon the traditional way, because you weaken their HP, and the lower their HP, the easier they are to catch. If Pokemon Let's Go, it'll be useless, because you only do it in trainer battles. You only do it in trainer battles.
Right.
Yeah.
I assume it just won't be in the game.
It may not be. Yeah, that's a good point.
Why would it be? I feel like the developers, unless they have some kind of great oversight, there's no way they would put that in the game.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be funny to see it at least. It could be kind of like Splash. Splash is even more useless. It literally does nothing.
Yeah.
It does nothing. Like you click Splash, and then it'll be like Magikarp, use Splash, and then it'll say nothing happened or something like that. So yeah, it's kind of funny. But there's one more point I want to make though, and I was talking about it earlier when we were talking about like Captain Toad and difficulty of games, like. And you were talking about how they kind of structured Octopath Traveler in a way where if it's kind of easy to progress through, but if you want to find challenge, you can find it. Like, I hope that's what they're doing for Pokemon Let's Go, although it doesn't seem like that, and that's the problem. Because even in other Pokemon games, like you were saying, Pokemon was pretty easy. It is easy, but there are ways to make the game harder. If you turn off experience share, you turn that off, your Pokemon grow way slower, right? So all of a sudden, that's harder. There's this thing called Nuzlocking, where people play the Pokemon games with certain rule sets. Like, they basically, if a Pokemon faints, they consider them dead in the game. They can never use them again in the game. And every time they see a Pokemon, they have to catch the very first Pokemon they see. So like they add limitations to the experience that make it more challenging. And that's Pokemon offers you choices, so you can kind of structure the game in a way to make it harder or easier for yourself. Even though I still feel like the games are easy overall, and I wish they would make like the main structure of the game a little harder. But nonetheless, there is structure in a way where it can kind of facilitate both. But now with Pokemon Let's Go, it looks like they're going to go away from that even more. But I hope they do offer challenge for those who seek it, because I feel like that's the best way to do it. And I honestly, the way they're sort of advertising it is concerning to me, because it reminds me of the Wii era, right, where there's a lot of casual games and they were literally just made easier. Like, oh, how are we going to make this game more appealing to every people? Let's just make it easier. Like, that was bad game design, right? And I feel like over the years, most developers, including Nintendo, they found ways to make games both easy and hard. Like, look at Super Mario Odyssey and look at Breath of the Wild, which I consider to be kind of like the epitome of game design for those genres. Like, they're designed a way where most people can play through them and they're easy, but for those who are looking for a challenge, they can find it. So I think that's the best way to handle a game. And the way Pokemon Let's Go is at least being advertised, right? Because we haven't gotten the full game yet. They may still offer a challenge. The way it's being advertised, it just seems like it's just straight up easy the whole time without offering a challenge to people. And that seems very, like, I'm going to say almost archaic, right? It's at least like a 10-year-old thinking, in my opinion. So hopefully that's not the case, or maybe they just really don't care. It's more about the experience, which it may be.
I mean, it's... My only problem with it is, if the game itself, like, when it's supposed to be hard, is easy. Like, I don't care that they took away wild battles. Okay, I don't care that there are Pokemon on screen. I actually like both of those things. I think they're really good additions. My thing is, every time I see them get into an actual battle, they just annihilate everyone, especially when they have, the 2-player co-op, like that's making a dirt easy game
I've
even
seen
more
some
easy.
screenshots at least where the leveling was more competitive, and so hopefully that was just kind of like the show for the trailer and the demos. But when we get the final game, the balancing be a bit more challenging, right? Maybe not saying like easy, but a bit more challenging, right? But I guess we'll see. We won't really know until the time comes. But I think we're in agreement that we don't want it to be just straight up easy. But even if it is straight up easy, sometimes some games are just about the experience and it's still worth it.
Right. Something for Gen 8 that I could see making the game. I really hope that they do keep over like seeing Pokemon in the environments a thing in Gen 8, because I think it should be. I think it should work kind of like Earthbound, where if there's a Pokemon nearby and you run into it, other Pokemon can see and help out if they're on screen. Like, because in
they already
Earthbound,
have
if you
that
get
mechanic
an
in
enemy,
the games, but they just don't have it happen in the overworld. Like sometimes there are Pokemon in a battle that will call out for help. That was introduced in Gen 7. Yeah,
they have that, but that's even more than that. I think they should have, because in Earthbound, if you run into an enemy, there are other enemies on screen. If they're close enough, you'll see them run in, and then the battle will start, and you'll be against multiple enemies. Typically in RPG, you don't. When you get into a random battle, it's not one enemy. Like if you play Octopath Traveler and you run into a battle, and it's just like the very beginning, super easy area, and even then, this is very rare. There's usually like 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 enemies in a battle. Like there's not just one enemy in a battle, typically. Like I think that they should have other Pokemon that can come and help, because when you get into wild battles, it's typically like, okay, here are my 6 Pokemon. Here's this one Pokemon. Let's just absolutely wreck him with no chance of ever losing. Like maybe if there were several different Pokemons and they could, help each other out, then that could actually add some
random thing. You said Pokemons. You said Pokemons.
Okay.
Pokemon is both plural and singular.
Yeah.
I know you know that. I know you just slipped up in that moment. But in case someone watches, like, hey, he said Pokemons.
How dare!
Right.
Heathen.
Yeah, I saved your life. Actually, some people would have come for your head.
They would have hacked my address and swatted me or something.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. That could happen, actually.
That could happen. That's
it's scary. We're risking our lives out right now just streaming. We'll be fine. But but to kind of like piggyback on your idea though, like I would really love them to play around with the idea of Pokemon roaming the world. Like, what if, sometimes Pokemon can join up from the overworld, right, and gang up on you. But what if sometimes Pokemon can just chase you and you want to run away sometimes if it's too strong? So then you introduce that mechanic where some Pokemon are chasing you in the overworld. Or you could also introduce a mechanic where there are Pokemon running around and they're kind of hiding. You have to follow them or chase them. Right, and if you think about what they sort of did in Pokemon Sun and Moon with the the actual like totem challenges, how you'd have to kind of like seek out Pokemon and do some different things, they could play around with that idea in the overworld and offer different like challenges in terms of finding and acquiring Pokemon, because they are moving about in the game world and they'll have different habits and they react to you in different ways. I think they could really like mix things up and take Pokemon to a whole other level in that way. But that's me kind of getting really excited about the possibilities. Let's see how ambitious Pokemon Company actually becomes, or Game Freak, when they do this, but we'll see.
Right.
I do want to move on though. Is there anything else you want to add to this before we move forward?
I think I covered everything.
Okay, cool. So, all right. So there was this interview. I didn't bother to check who, but I just kind of want to talk about this. Bethesda was interviewed about the different games they've been making. Right, and the question was brought up: how are they going to change the way they handle single player games? Because if you look at the success of games like Fortnite, right, and I don't know, like everything, like every multiplayer game in existence now, like with all the like, my brain is fried, bro. Microtransactions, right, and like loot boxes and things like that. Like it's way easier to make way more money with multiplayer games than it is for anything else, like League of Legends and such. Like that has so much more potential to make money than a lot of single player games. But even so, Bethesda is known for making a lot of epic single player games, right? Although Fallout 76 is an online sort of co-op kind of game. Like Bethesda was asked about this: are you going to change things in the future? And basically they said that we're going to still focus on making single player games because it's what we do, but right, we're not going to be continuing to do the same things we've been doing for the last 5-10 years. They are going to look at how things are changing and try to adapt. So what does that mean exactly? Well, I mean, I guess that's the question here. Like, how are they going to change the single-player games? Because it is a fact, right, that a lot of multiplayer games are... It's easier to make those, like, engines for money-making, right? Like, it's one of the reasons... That's kind of like what EA is sort of doing. Like, they're making a lot more multiplayer-centric games that are just built around making money rather than focusing on giant, epic single-player adventure games. And the argument has been made that single-player games are a dying genre. I don't think so, right? And I think games like Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey are a testament to that. But what do you think? Do you think that there's something to this? How do you think? But there's like several questions we're throwing at you here, so I'll just kind of I'll let you to get started before and we'll go one by one.
Yeah, I think the main one I'm excited about that their upcoming game that I hope that they use this philosophy in would be not Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 6 that just got announced back at E3. And while Elder Scrolls is a good series, it's been plagued by some issues, especially like games like Skyrim. There's lots of bugs. Like there's just a ridiculous amount of bugs in that game. And there's just some things I think they can learn from newer open world experiences, having, I think they should just take the time to polish their games. And maybe they could learn from Breath of the Wild with their more exploration-focused gameplay and be able to go anywhere and, like, climb anything. And, like, maybe they could learn some things from that. I don't know. Because a lot of times when you're playing, like when I play Skyrim, sure, when you get to a town, there's side quests and stuff, and you can find enemies on the overworld, and there's some dungeons you can find here and there. But for the most part, when you're just walking around the overworld, there's not much to do. And when you find a dungeon, a lot of times, what you get is not, like, there's just, like, basic loot. And it's just like, okay, I went to this dungeon, and I got, like, nothing. Like, it was not worth it. Because what I got was already stuff, like, I already had. There's this annoying mechanic where you can get overweighted, so if you're carrying too much stuff, you, like, walk really slow, and it doesn't actually take that much to do that. And there's just some annoying mechanics that I think that they could learn from games like Breath of the Wild. Make it just overall better experience.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, I think Breath of the Wild is like, it is set it has set. I can't speak anymore. So it's going downhill from now, guys. Once it hits, what time is it? Once it hits like 10 o'clock, my brain just starts. But I was just saying that Breath of the Wild is like it set the bar for open world adventure games, right? And I definitely think a lot of developers will see what was accomplished with Breath of the Wild, and they'll take note for sure. And I think Bethesda was a company that will definitely, they're not going to fall behind. Like they're really good with their open world games. So I'm not, but their games tend to be more about scope and so many different characters, and they put a lot into their games. There's a lot of details, but sometimes they don't polish as much, right? Because of how huge and how big the scope is. So that's the thing where I don't know how much they'll improve in that category, right? I think they're gonna have to find a way to make things a little bit better. So maybe they will. Maybe they'll maintain the scope they're at now and just kind of focus on polishing a little bit more. That could happen, right? And maybe get more dungeons that have a bit more going on, like you want. But like I think, oh god, my eyes bother me. So like if you look at what they did with Super Mario Odyssey, right? Like it's a single player game, but they've had like free DLC updates, and I still think they're gonna have paid DLC sort of introduced eventually, right? Actually, if you look at like pretty much every big single player game, there's a DLC pack or two. Like look at Horizon, look at Batman, like there's just DLC for all of them that you can buy. So developers are still offering DLC for these games to sort of increase the amount of profit they make from these games that have huge budgets, right? So they are still competing with multiplayer games in that way. But also, like, if you look at what they did in Mario Odyssey, where they introduced the Balloon World, where that's like an extra mechanic that it's a single-player game, but they're sort of bringing other people into the fold in a way, right? And another interesting thing is, like, if you look at Wind Waker HD with the Tingle bottles, right? And you can find bottles on the ocean shore. I thought that was so cool with the Miiverse integration. That was another way of, like, it was a single-player game, but bringing other people into the fold. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the future there are a lot more single-player games that have, like, multiplayer elements sort of mixed into them, right? Kind of like Dark Souls, for example. Actually, Dark Souls is another example of kind of having a multiplayer mechanic thrown into a single-player game. So I could see a lot more single player games doing that, along with having the DLC packs that come out afterwards as well.
Right. I mean, for something like Elder Scrolls, maybe they could have like an arena in the world where you go there and you can battle other players online and stuff. That could be fun. Something like that. Just something to kind of tie in, like, oh, there's this specific function of online. It's not, you don't have to do it, and it's not like a main focus of the game. But if you go over to this one section of the world, there's this one place where you can do online battles with other players or something like that. Something like that would be fun. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, my big thing for Bethesda is they just need to get their polish down. Like, their games are good. It's just like when I'm playing Skyrim, I'm trying to get into the lore and the story, and I'm listening to this dope dragon tell me about why I'm the Dragonborn, how awesome that is. And then all of a sudden, he glitches into the ground, like spazzes out and flies up in the sky and just like starts glitching around in the sky and then slams back into the ground and almost kills me. Like, I just start going, okay, I don't really want to play this game anymore. Like, it's kind of ridiculous.
So BookKid15 just said, Elder Scrolls stage for Mario Kart or Smash maybe. Probably not, but you did give me a really interesting idea though. While I was also listening to Brand News, Tim talking about dragons. What if... So, like, they just introduced Breath of the Wild Link into Mario Kart, and I made a video yesterday of talking about potential Mario Kart 8 DLC, which is, I guess, is also going to help us move into next topic. Are we done talking about Bethesda? Yes. Yes, we are, because this is a perfect segue, that's why. But anyway, so this idea you kind of helped me just get right now. What if they introduce a Mario Kart 8 stage with a DLC where it's a Breath of the Wild stage that has, like, the dragons flying around, right? And you have to ride on the dragons.
That'd be pretty dope.
Think about those dragons are huge, man. Like, it would be so crazy, right? And it would be like a dynamic stage. Like, oh my, like I would just imagine like you're riding the 3 dragons, and they're all, of course, as they're flying around Hyrule. But it'd be amazing. But at the same time, it'll have to be redone. It'd be obscene.
I'm trying to figure how that would.
I think it's too ambitious. It's too ambitious.
Yeah,
it's too ambitious.
I mean, they could do. They have that stage that isn't that dragon stage that's already in the game. Isn't that based off of the dragon from Mario Galaxy, if I remember right? Something like that.
It might be similar, and there is that space dragon from Mario Galaxy that they could also do. Yeah, they're both they're both based off the Chinese dragon. That's why.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, they could have one that is themed like that, where it's themed after the dragons. But I mean, that would be super cool. I'm just thinking, like, how would that actually work as a stage if they're flying around and moving around? I mean, they could have like set patterns.
Yeah, maybe instead. Well, like, here's the thing: if it's in Mario Kart 8, they would have to change the stage up because it would be a different style than Breath of the Wild, right? Because it would have to be in the Mario Kart 8 style. So they're already changing things and taking liberties already. So maybe there's some sort of maybe the dragons are on a set. They are on a set pattern. So maybe you don't even ride the dragons. Maybe you just ride through or around the dragons, and they're just sort of like dancing and battling around you.
Yeah, they could be doing something. Maybe they could be sending objects onto this stage, and you have to dodge them. Like, because there are certain stages in Mario Kart where you have to like dodge, like when you're playing Grumble Volcano and there's like the fireballs falling down and stuff, you gotta dodge them. Or there's certain like that, what's that one in the clouds where there's lightning that will go off, like maybe something like that. Maybe they're in a battle in the sky and fireballs are falling.
Right. There could be different parts where they each like throw their own elements at different times. Yeah, that could work for sure. So this would be an epic stage. But to answer your question, Bookid, we'll get to a little bit more Smash talk in a bit, but the character I want the most, I think it's between 3. Rex and Pyra from Xenoblade 2, Banjo-Kazooie, and a Metroid character, either being Dark Samus or Sonic. I'm just say Sonic. So those are my 3 characters I want the most. I'm not sure which ones will make it. We'll see. But, yeah. But
I want Master Chief.
So, Mario Kart 8 was updated, as I think I may have mentioned it, but if I didn't, I'm mentioning it now. Breath of the Wild Link was added to the game along with his, his bike from the Breath of the Wild DLC, and, that we had the Labo functionality added not too long ago as well. And Nintendo has said that they're going to be adding functionality in the game, and I made the point in my video yesterday about Mario Kart, talking about how there's all these different things, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is sold so much better than Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, and it has so much more time, and it's an evergreen title. So for all these different reasons, like, I think that they're setting the stage to be introducing like paid DLC because they'll make way more money than they did with Mario Kart 8 DLC, right? And 2, there's a demand for it, right? And 3, they're already putting free DLC. Why would they be putting free DLC well over a year after the game has come out? Why would they be resurging this game with DLC? I think they're setting things up to offer paid DLC. That's my stance on it, right? But because of that, though, right, and because of the history of there only being one main Mario Kart game per platform, I'm highly skeptical that there will be a Mario Kart 9, especially since Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still selling. There's no business reason from this point, in my opinion, that they need it to, because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is going to continue to sell. Now, I'm saying my stance is that Mario Kart 9 will not come out on the Nintendo Switch. However, I could see it maybe happening a couple of years from now, and they make it really different. Like, it would have to be a huge departure if they were to do it. But the thing is, I'm just saying it becomes less likely, especially if they offer paid DLC now, this year. But that's what I think about it. Brandon, what do you think? Do you think we're going to be seeing Mario Kart 9 at all? Or do you think we're going to see paid DLC for Mario Kart 8? What's your stance on this issue?
I mean, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is just sold so well. It's sold better than the Wii U version. I think it's at like, what, 8, 10
right.
million, 8 to 10 million. It's more than that, probably.
And Mario Kart 8 came out in 2014, right? And Mario Kart Deluxe has only been out for about a year, and it surpassed it.
Right.
Well, it surpassed it months ago.
Yeah.
It surpassed it months ago, and it's probably sold more since. And and 25% of the time, it outdid it. In a fourth of the amount of time, it outdid it.
Right.
So it has way more potential.
It's sold ridiculously well. It keeps selling. It keeps charting in Japan and America and pretty much everywhere in the world. It's charting every single week, every single month. Like, there's no reason to really make a Mario Kart 9 at this time. I think they're definitely going to go this DLC route. I think maybe, far off, if they make a new version of the Switch or something, maybe they'll make a Mario Kart 9 for that. But for this version of the Switch, I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is really just what we're getting. I think there's just easy ways that they could really expand it, add those more tracks, add more battle tracks, add more race tracks. Right. Maybe even they could add, like,
they could go ham. Stuff. They could go ham with the DLC, right? Like, they could do... Like, what they could do, right? Because I know a lot of people want, like a unique Mario Kart game. What if they go ham with the DLC and then just offer it, like, as its own package? Kind of like what they did with Super Luigi U on the Wii U, how it was its own retail game, right? They could even, or how they're doing it with the Xenoblade 2 DLC, where it becomes its own retail game. If this hypothetical DLC, which is not confirmed yet, right, but if it is real and it happens, they could offer it as its own retail version in case people just want the new content for this Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, right? I think that's one option they could do if they're not making Mario Kart 9. But I just want to bring up a point, though. I don't know if you guys noticed this, though. So the ARMS team is the same team as the Mario Kart 8 team. And the ARMS team is no longer making major DLC updates for ARMS. Am I correct in saying that? I'm pretty sure.
Yep. As of, I think, the end of last year was the last time they were doing
so updates. Only a few months later, guess what happens? We start getting DLC updates for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But for the entire first year, we got nothing. But only until shortly after the ARMS team, the same team, was done with the DLC for ARMS, they started seeing DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm just saying, what if that team is building up? What if they're working on, something for Mario Kart 8?
Right. I think it would make sense. I'd definitely be down to buy it. Maybe it's $10, $20 for, another 2 cups, some, another 5 to 10 battle maps or something like that, and some new characters. Like, I'd buy that in an instant. You don't even have to convince me.
I want a mission mode.
Yes, I think that's something I think that they might save for Mario Kart 9 if they do, like, for the next Switch. Something like a big, like, maybe an explorable...
But if there isn't going to be a Mario Kart 9 on the Switch, then maybe they would, right? Like, I'm just saying, like, I guess it depends on when Mario Kart 9 is coming. Even if it's not coming anytime soon, they still may not do it. I'm just saying, if it's not coming until Switch 2, right? Or Super Switch, whatever, like, then maybe they'll consider adding more than just a few extra maps.
Well, I definitely think they do want to sell you another Mario Kart game for sure. because they're gonna get more money off of a brand new Mario Kart game. You know, because it's $60 versus what if this DLC is gonna be $10 to $20, so they're definitely gonna get more off of that. So they're gonna want to sell you a new Mario Kart game. So eventually, they're definitely gonna want to make a Mario Kart 9.
Absolutely. It's just a question of when is it going to be worth it? Because the thing is, the team could also work on a whole other game instead, right? If Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still selling, why disrupt that, and why can't they just make something else, but also give us a whole bunch of DLC?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think we're gonna get a new Switch probably 4 or 5 years after, you know, the Switch has been out. It came out 2017, so we're seeing 2022, 2023, somewhere around there, where we're gonna see a brand new Switch, and I think that's when Mario Kart 9 is gonna come out, unless some kind of crazy thing happens and Mario Kart Deluxe stops selling, or whatever, the DLC doesn't sell well, or whatever. They're not gonna stop, because like when you buy a new Switch, most people statistically are also getting like Mario Kart Deluxe with it. Like, what do I see when people tell me they bought a new Switch? What games do they tell me that's the first game they bought? Mario Kart Deluxe and Breath of the Wild. Like, those are the 2 big games that I usually see.
But Super Mario Odyssey has outsold both of them.
True. That's also another one.
Yeah.
That a lot of people will
both
get.
have really high install rates. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah. So, I guess, you know, I think we're both in agreement that Mario Kart 9 is a ways off, and that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC seems to be looming, right?
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, we'll see, right? Like, I want Mario. I'm not saying I want one or the other. I'm just kind of looking at the facts and seeing what sort of makes sense. But I guess we'll see. But I don't. Do you have anything to add to this aside from? Well, I mean, we could speculate about a whole bunch of Mario Kart 8 DLC, right? Like that stage we talked about with the dragons from Breath of the Wild. That would be so cool. Some people, like in my video, I talked about maybe we could get Diddy Kong and Kirby introduced into the game. I think there'll be definitely some Mario Odyssey content thrown in there. Some people in the comments were talking about maybe having Captain Falcon, since he already has his own stages. You know, make it Smash Kart. That's possible. Like,
right, Smash Kart would be awesome. I guess the only thing I would like to say is that I kind of want a Mario Kart 9, because I do not think they're gonna add like a Diddy Kong Racing style hub or anything like that until they at least a Mario Kart 9.
Cool.
Like,
yeah,
that's what I want.
I agree with you. I don't think they'll add like that, but it would be so cool, especially since like Mario Kart 8 has like the art for like, you know, like they're like in like the pit stops and stuff, and there's a Toads working on the cars. Like, imagine if they did have kind of like a hub, like, oh, it was so freaking cool. Oh man,
Missions, stuff like that. Like, all I see them adding is stages, just races, battle stages, maybe a new battle mode if they really want to. I don't think they really need to. I think there's enough battle mode, but new battle maps or races. Like, that's all I see. I don't see them adding a mission mode or a hub or anything like that, to be honest.
What if they added just like missions to do during a race?
Honestly, I don't think they would. I think it's a possibility. I just don't really see it
I
happen.
mean, I guess the simple thing is just to add tracks, characters, parts, and battle maps. It would be cool if they added something else to sort of mix everything up, like another mode or something. But, you know, that's me wanting more than what should be reasonably expected of them. But, you know, I guess we'll see. I guess there's some questions in the chat, unless there's anything else you want to bring up about
that was kind of my final just statement, like pretty much just summing up what I think is Mario Kart 9 is probably a bit away, but I would want a Mario Kart 9 just because I don't think they're gonna add anything crazy.
Yeah, Mario Kart 9 could have a hub, that would be amazing. Like, yeah, but well, probably for not for another couple of years. So let's see what the others saying. So, did we forget about Mario Kart Tour? Yes, forgot about Mario Kart Tour. That's, you know,
the mobile game.
I have no idea what it's going to be about. I have no idea it's going to play. We could speculate about that forever. I really have no idea what they're going to do. I guess it still has to be racing, right? What if they made it like Temple Run, but with drifting and items?
I think it's probably just going to have gyro controls. Like, you know, there's a lot of other. I think it's going to be simpler with the way it drifts and work and stuff, and it's just going to be gyro based, because they have, like, I've played other racing games on the phone. You know, there's the gas, there's drifting, but it's like not as, you know, nuance and
I
stuff.
don't
It's just
know.
gonna be like a basic.
I don't know how they're gonna handle it because I don't like most racing games on the phone. So,
I enjoy those, but I mean, you're not really the target audience, though. Just to be honest.
no. Well, screw you. Hey, what if I want to be the target audience? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, you're right. So we'll see. And Book Kid, what are my thoughts on Super Mario Party? I actually think it has the potential to be one of the better Mario Parties yet. I think the way they're taking advantage of the tablets for each Switch, and you can plug them together wherever you want and make it like an actual like virtual portable game board. That is mind blowing to me. I think that has so much potential. No cars. That's also apparently a plus for a lot of people. And on top of that, it could be like a way better version in terms of like motion control, Joy-Con functionality than 1-2 Switch. So coupling all these different things together, I think there's a lot of different innovations they could add. It'll be really cool.
And there's so many minigames. And there's like 80 plus minigames.
And it's gonna be portable HD Mario Party, right? So
real Mario Party. It's gonna be the first real Mario Party since 8.
And the other interesting thing is that, well, I was gonna say, is that it's gonna be one of those things that I think will be really good for portable multiplayer. I think it'll be a really good portable multiplayer game. Like, it's gonna be good at home, of course, but like I think it's one of those games that you don't really need to like use a big screen to be like, oh my god, I want to play on a big screen. But like since it's like Mario Party, so it's like a game board style, right? And it's just mini games. Like I think that really does facilitate kind of being able to play wherever you want, which is going to be really cool. So you know, I'm excited about it. I think it has huge potential. Honestly,
I mean,
it's Mario Karts, Mario Parties, not Mario Kart.
Right. I mean, it's got the normal game mode where it's like an actual real Mario Party board, and I've seen people play it. Like, it's got all the different nuances that a real Mario Party. Like, it's not dumbed down in any way. It's just straight up real good Mario Party. And then they got even the side modes that usually are kind of like meh or suck. Like, they're good. Like the one where you're on a grid and you can move around anywhere and you're actually on a team. Like that is also really cool. Like I haven't seen anything about this game that makes me worry about it in the slightest.
It has potential, man. So I'm optimistic. So, and on top of that, at this point, we don't know of any other big like major Nintendo games in October. So I'm picking that one up. So yeah, but let's move on to the final topic. So I want to talk about a little bit about Smash leak culture. And there's different angles to talk about this, and this could go on for a while. I guess it depends how heated this gets. I don't think it's going to get heated, mainly because it's just me and Brandon. We usually agree on most things, and we don't have a guest today to disagree with us. Maybe next week.
That's why we bring guests. We purposely seek out people to disagree with us.
Yeah, actually, that'd be a good idea, right? We should like go to like Xbox communities and be like, hey, come on to our Nintendo podcast and talk about why you hate Nintendo. And let us tell... That would be a fun, like, controversial little podcast, though, right? Like, have a hater debate. Like, oh, Xbox is better because it's more powerful. Oh, Nintendo's better because Mario, like, you know, like...
Because actual games, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's what, oh, we have games. We have more games than you, like, because third parties. Like, it would be an interesting... It'd be interesting to do, but not for now. But Smash League culture, like, so personally, right, and there's no structure to this final topic here for the record, guys, but like, and if you guys have anything you want to add to it, by all means, but for me, there are aspects of it that I think are really cool and exciting. Like, I am totally into, like, rumors and speculation, like, I'm so fine with that, but what upsets me, right, is when there are leaks, right, and it's not even that there are leaks, quote-unquote, they're fake leaks, right, that's why I'm doing the air quotes, because they're fake leaks. I'm not bothered by people creating fake leaks. I'm bothered by mainly like a lot of YouTubers, right, or people who go out and they'll find these leaks and then they'll title their videos "Leak," and then they'll say "Leak, every character in Smash revealed," right? Like that title is a straight up lie, right? Like I'm not like as a YouTuber, like, you know, there's certain things like I want to advertise my videos, but I try to be politically correct, right? Like if I say leak, right, I'll put a question mark, you know, and I'll make it clear, like, hey, there's this leak, quote unquote, out there, but I'm never gonna say, hey, these leaks were confirmed. Like, there are so many people out there that do that, and they confuse so much people out there who think certain things are real all the time, and that's misinformation, and I'm totally against that. And it gets a lot of people caught up and really confused, and I personally, that aspect of Smash leak culture, I hate. What do you think about that, Brandon? Do you disagree with me? You can
No.
disagree with me, by the way. You have that option.
It is possible, but no, I don't. In this situation, I do not disagree. I think it's total bullshit when they just go and they're just like, hey, like it's just clickbait. Like it's just confusing people for views and money or whatever you wanted, whatever they're wanting to get out of it. And like as you said, like I love to speculate. Why do you think I'm on this podcast? We speculate every week. We speculate all the time. Yeah, this is the speculation cast. That's what this is. So, like, I love that kind of stuff, but it's just there's too many people they get their hopes up for something, and then when it doesn't happen because it was never confirmed, people just get super mad and upset or confused because they're like they were promised by some YouTuber out there who gave misinformation or said something in a purpose way to purposely deceive somebody to get views and stuff, and then they get upset at the developers, and it's not even the developers' fault. The developers never told you this is going to happen. The developers made all this stuff, and they had all this time and effort put into it. And if you actually look at game design, you look at into the in-depth ways of like how things are made. Like just go try booting up Unreal Engine 4 and Blender. Those are the free ones. That's why I say that. Go try to make something. Please, if you think game design is easy, go boot up Blender, go boot up Unreal Engine 4, and actually try to make something, and then come back and tell me that game design is easy.
Oh, I opened up Blender once. I never opened it again. I mean, I haven't had the time to like focus on it, but it's a lot. It's a lot for sure. But I just want to make it clear, right? Because I'm 100% for speculation and talking about rumors and leaks, quote unquote leaks, but I'm never gonna call them a confirmed leak. That's the thing. It's the wording of things, right? It's the wording of things. It's the messaging of things. It's how you present the information. I love talking about the information when it's out there, right? Even if it's not true or if it might not be true. It just kind of comes down to how it's presented, and there's so much lies out there. But in terms of like people making fake stuff, I think that's fun. I think that's really cool,
right.
But it's also, I guess, one of those things where sometimes it's really believable. And I guess it comes down, is it a fake leak or is it a real leak? Now, a real leak is a whole other different animal, right? Because then the game's getting spoiled. And then you're getting into spoiler territory, and then some people are concerned about spoilers. And I mean, for me, I'm okay with it. I would prefer to play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and be surprised as I play the game and find some new characters. Right. But I mean, like, the way most games nowadays are, you kind of know about most things by the time it comes out, which I hate. I really do. Like, yeah, I remember...
That's the thing about the internet. Like, it's great because you can get all this information about every game that you want to... And anything you want to know about a game, to decide whether you want to purchase it, or whether the game's for you, or some cool information about it. Like, that's all available, and you can get all this leaks and this speculation and stuff, and you can have a fun time. But then some companies, especially Nintendo, and some leakers just take it too far, and they just spoil everything. Like, Nintendo has this bad habit, and I know a lot of other people have talked about this, where they are so secretive for, like, a long time. And then, like, a month before the game comes out, they just, like, start getting trailers and updates and all this stuff that just, like, and directs that just, like, absolutely spoil, like, everything about the game. And it's really upsetting. Like, Nintendo does it to themselves sometimes. Even beyond just leakers and rumors and stuff, Nintendo will do it themselves. It's really annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying, man. But I mean, like, that's another thing. Like, sometimes people put up thumbnails of like final bosses. Like,
oh, screw those people.
Yeah, and then it's like once you see it, like you can't unsee it. You can't do that. So there's certain aspects of leak culture in general that are kind of toxic, but again, I love speculating about possibilities and rumors and piecing things together, and maybe we come up with an idea or figure out a mystery. Like, that's really exciting to me. But like, I don't know how we solve the problem though, right? Like in terms of like those spoiler leaks, I don't know. Like, it just kind of like it is what it is. And then there's like the other leaks that have been coming out, like the Mario Rabbids leak that happened last year, right? Like that was. Or Pokemon Let's Go, like that was leaked as well before they were announced. But they weren't leaked in a way that ruins the game, I think. right? But we knew they were going to get announced,
Right.
which may take away from the excitement of the announcement. But
the problem with Mario and Rabbids is the leaks were so vague, and the way they described it was not interesting. And this comes down to the problem. That was a problem with the people leaking information. The way they described it sounded like absolute shit. Like, they did not sound like fun games. It did not sound like a good concept. Like, it sounded stupid. It sounded weird. And when we actually saw the game, Mario Rabbids actually, was shown, and it came out, and people started getting their hands on it. They started playing it. They started seeing how everything worked. Like, it was really good. But if you would ask me, and I think people did, before when it was just leaks, I said the game was dumb. I said the game sounded stupid. I said I would never buy this game. Like, this sounded like the most ridiculous, stupid thing. I literally said every time this game is leaked, it sounds more and more stupid. Like, that was almost direct quote from me pre-reveal of this game. Like, that's just another problem with leak culture. Sometimes they leak the information. Yeah, technically it's correct, but the way they leaked it is really not, like, representative of the actual product.
This is random, and maybe it's just my exhaustion, but I could swear I just saw the curtain on your window shake. It's a ghost. It's the ghost that controls. It's the evil ghost boss that controls all the leaks of humanity. And it's just like, oh, how dare these people speak against my leaks? I will leak the ending for Smash Bros. Ultimate to all of them.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we're screwed. like, there's not much you can be done. Like, maybe punish. Like, maybe people can report thumbnails that are spoiler territory. Like that could maybe be something that could be done. But in terms of like leakers, like finding information on games, like for example Mario Rabbids and stuff, like I guess that's kind of like comes with the territory. There still are surprises though, right? Like for example, Metroid Prime 4 wasn't. Well, there was a rumor that there were to be 2 Metroid games at E3, but I think everyone was still surprised when we saw Metroid
Nobody
Prime
believed
4.
the rumor.
Yeah.
Nobody believed that.
Maybe the reason there's so much more leaks now than there used to be 10 years ago is strictly because of smartphones. Because, like, everyone, like, we have all incredible data plans and, like, everything is captured and recorded, like, everywhere. Maybe that's why there's more leaks now.
Yeah, it's so easy to just nonchalantly, pretend you're on your phone. And really, right now, you have no idea that I'm actually taking a video.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Like, you have no idea that actually in real life, I'm taking a video. You have no idea. No. If I had not told you that, you could have thought I was texting somebody or checking my email or who knows what.
So what if I told you I actually have a bonus topic for us?
Oh,
bonus topic. Mainly because I forgot to put it in the outline. Yeah. So I'm gonna slash out this last topic here, bring up the bonus topic, and if you guys have any sort of questions or things you want us to talk about at the end of this podcast, bring them in the chat now, alright? So, unless there's anything else you want to say to Smash Leak Culture, Brandon. For the record, guys, you guys can talk about whatever topic you want with these questions if you bring them up.
Yeah, my only final thing I wanted to say was, like, I really wish this was back in the day where we didn't know the whole roster of a game, like a fighting game before it came out.
For Smash Ultimate, I'm surprised about some things.
When I played like Brawl, like I wasn't really. I know they had like the dojo. Or
Smash Dojo, I hated actually. Like I loved it when it happened. Like every day I came back from school, I was like, oh my god, Smash Dojo, like every freaking day. But like once Brawl came out, I was like, I've seen pretty like everything in the game already.
Right.
Which was upsetting because from Melee, everything was a surprise.
Right, yeah. And I got that for Brawl. Like, I never followed the dojo. Like, back then, I didn't really understand how the internet worked. I didn't understand how information could be gathered. I didn't understand about news channels and, all this stuff. Like what I'm doing now. Like, being on a podcast or doing news updates or coffee talk or whatever. I didn't understand how any of that worked. And a lot of it was like new, so not many people knew how it worked. So I didn't get into that. So when Brawl came out, like there was just rumors and leaks in my like local community and school and stuff about, like I've said this on the podcast before, like Wolf Link was supposedly in the game, And like we didn't know, like when I had finally unlocked the ability to fight against Toon Link, I had no idea he was in the game. I was just like, oh my gosh,
remember when
I'm on a Wind Waker stage fighting Toon Link. What is this? This is insane.
But when you unlock Toon Link, you're so close to unlocking Wolf. I remember that. That's cool.
Yeah, my mind was blown because Wind Waker is like my favorite game of all time. It's up there. So when I saw that, my mind was just blown. I was so excited. So like stuff like that, like would be so cool, but that just doesn't really exist anymore.
Yeah.
There's some games like Xenoblade. I won't go into it. Like Xenoblade 2, like the tie-ins to the story for that game. Those were not leaked, luckily. Nintendo never talked about it.
Xenoblade 2 wasn't spoiled for me. No.
Yeah.
But I also didn't really follow. I didn't follow all of the gameplay demos. Like I was just like, okay, I already know. I knew what I wanted. Like I knew it. I saw the trailers. Like, I want it. I'm good.
I couldn't help myself. I had to watch them. So like, luckily, like anytime they showed it, they just talked about like battle mechanics and stuff. Like that was actually really good because by the time the game came out, I actually understood how the battle mechanics worked, and like half of the, like 95% of the people who played that game when they first started had no idea how anything worked. So like by the time the game came out, I already knew like how the game played, and so it was easy for me to just pick it up and like start mastering the different strategies. So that was like that's what was good about that. Like sometimes Nintendo does it so well, and they only talk about like battle mechanics and stuff, and then sometimes they get the story spoiled. It's just like, this, okay, stop, just hold on. I don't need to know this. I'm already gonna buy your game. Just I don't need you to spoil it for me.
Yeah, so they have in the past like had a release of information about a game so much so that I feel like it tells you too much about the game. That's how that I haven't liked. I think they've gone a little bit better with it the last year or so, but I don't think they revealed too much about Breath of the Wild, right? Like, I think they did a good job with Breath of the Wild. And I watched everything for Breath of the Wild, right? I mean, there's still plenty of surprises.
8 hours.
They did a great job with that. I think for Mario Odyssey, I think maybe they shouldn't have showed like it's one of those things like I wanted to see more kingdoms, but I didn't want to see more. There was still plenty of surprises. Like it was okay.
I don't think they really showed off the Bowser's Kingdom, which was really cool.
That was
the way that they
surprise,
showed that
for sure. Another thing I saw Boo Kid talk about it. It was the Pokemon. Like Pokemon, a lot of times they reveal so many Pokemon, and I don't like that. But that's the thing is, I used to be a competitive Pokemon player, so for me it was like, oh, I kind of need there was like a double-edged sword because like I need to know about all the Pokemon ASAP so I can start figuring out strategies. That part was exciting, but at the same time I wanted to play through the game at first, like just leisurely first before I get into the competitive scene, and want to be surprised. So there's like those two different like schools of thought. So it was a bit conflicting. Yeah, like I just think in general, like companies need to be careful about how much media they present. And sometimes you want to show the media because it gets people wanting to buy the game. But there's that happy medium. There's that middle ground where you don't have to spoil that much of the game, but you can still hype people up and get them to want it. So it depends on the game, obviously. But they did a great job with Breath of the Wild. So point for them there. Most of the games this last year or so it's been fine. But let me kind of I guess go to the chat because everyone's kind of brought up some interesting things. Unless was that your final point, Brandon?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Let's see. Right, like Sal was bringing up that not including Smash Bros. Ultimate, everything was leaked for Nintendo's E3, right? Like Overcooked 2, DBZ Fighters, Fortnite, it was all leaked, all of it, right? That was another thing. Like a lot of people were disappointed with Nintendo's Direct, but if we didn't know about any of that, and then it was all shown off, I think I would have been a lot more hyped. Like when I saw Dragon Ball Fighters and Fortnite, I was just like, okay, I knew about this.
Look, that was real.
Both of those things would have hyped me up a lot if I didn't know about them beforehand, right? Those are two games I really like. So, for the record, there's a beta coming out for Dragon Ball Fighters in August, and the game comes out in September. So that's just pointing that out there for you guys on the Switch. And that's only a few weeks away, just saying. So, that bothered me. It really did.
I thought Smash wasn't leaked. That would have been annoying.
Yeah, that would have been bad.
That was Ridley.
Well, technically, there was a rumor going around saying that Daisy, Ridley, and Simon Belmont were going to be in Smash Bros. Ultimate. I think it even said that Simon Belmont wouldn't be showing off at E3.
I thought it was Ice Climbers. I don't remember Daisy. I thought it was Ice Climbers.
Ice Climbers is Ridley. You're right. Ice Climbers Ridley. and Simon Belmont, but I think they even said that Simon Belmont wouldn't be showing off at E3.
Yeah, they did.
So, well, I mean, Simon Belmont hasn't been revealed yet, but he also wasn't at E3, but Ridley and Ice Climbers were. So that may have been leaked too, maybe, right? But the way it was shown off, I think everyone was still surprised when it was shown. Like, no one believed that rumor 100%. We all believed Ice Climbers because that just felt like a fairly obvious
one. It wasn't like the whole model got leaked or anything.
Yeah.
Or like official confirmation or anything like that. We didn't know that every fighter was returning or anything like that, so.
Absolutely. Yeah, how would I react if there... how would I react if there was a Mario Bros. Trilogy? So, when you say Mario Bros., I have to assume you mean a 2D Mario game, right? Because Super Mario Bros. The Mario Bros. Series is the two-dimensional ones, and the Super Mario games are the 3D ones. I'm more hyped about the 3D Mario games, but I still like the 2D Mario games. So I'd be like, hey, that'd be cool, you know?
I like the older 2D Mario games. I don't like the new series. To be honest,
I put a lot. I don't like the aesthetic of them, but I still enjoy the gameplay a lot.
I really didn't.
Mario
Bros. If they announced a Super Mario
yeah.
game for like the Switch, I probably would not.
Actually, Mario Maker made me cry.
Mario Maker was fun because it's like that kind of older.
I punished myself repeatedly with Mario Maker. I would always seek out the hardest of hard levels and spend hours. Oh, it was insane. And then I tried to record myself doing it and try to splice up every cut, and that was even more hell. But whatever. Let's just move on. Yeah, I would be hyped for a Mario Bros. Trilogy, but not as hyped for, you know, a new Super Mario game, but still, I like it. And also, yes, I know who Etika is. I'm technically subscribed to him. I don't really watch him that often. I don't know, he doesn't come up my feed.
I've never watched.
I think he's entertaining. I don't watch his whole streams, but I see him in bits and pieces, and I think he's an entertaining dude. I would love to meet him someday. He's cool. He's a cool guy. Yeah. Oh man, Severe, that sucks that you saw the final boss by looking at the OST. That did not happen to me.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You shouldn't look through the OSTs because the names are usually the bosses and stuff.
Yeah. That sucks. I'm sorry. Well, at least it was just a name, right? If you don't know what the names are, you don't know. Well, I guess if you see the name, then you'll know once you play the story. But well. So Sabbath has a question. All right, do you think it would be cool if Mother 3 on Switch would have similar graphics? Absolutely. If it has the Octopath Traveler sort of setup, that would be amazing. Amazing. Like people would cry. Like the reaction videos, you know, to people seeing that, there will be people screaming and crying in their reaction videos when they saw that. I don't know if I was scream and cry, right? Because I didn't play Earthbound as a kid. I got into it later on, once I learned about it, and I like it, and I'd be super hyped for it. But it would be, I want it for sure, absolutely. There's one thing I want a little bit more though, Earthbound 3D. It's not happening. You know, yeah. So Mike Rapp is saying, did you guys initially believe the ESRB leak when it first came out? I don't.
I think he answers it later. It's like
I have to look that up because I don't.
I see what he's talking about. He says when Smash 4 still wasn't out, there was a 4chan post leaked the entire roster. It was all true. It was called an ESRB leak because the leaker worked for ESRB in rating the game.
That was such a long time ago for me.
I didn't know about that at all, actually.
So I can't really answer the question because
I wasn't in like I follow like Game Explain, and I was like, where I got my updates. I don't think they talked about it.
But I will say I was disappointed when pretty much there was a certain point. I remember for Smash 4, there was a certain point where I knew every character on the roster before the game came out, and I was not happy about that. So you know, didn't like it. I think Simon Belmont will, if he's in the game, will be shown in a direct, and I predict Simon Belmont's in the game. So yeah, I agree, Sabbath.
Yeah, I feel like Nintendo's just gonna show everything. Unfortunately, I feel like, especially since they have like the blog and stuff, like they're just gonna show everything.
Has there ever been a leak that was 100% true? Yes. Many actually. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. That leak 100% true.
A lot of the Switch leaks, actually.
Actually, most of this E3 leak was true, right? Yeah, like everything. Fortnite was leaked. Dragon Ball FighterZ was leaked. Overcooked 2 was leaked. Like, yeah, there's leaks all the time, unfortunately, for lots of stuff. For Smash Brothers, though, I hope that's not leaked. I hope not. There's a lot of fake leaks going around there. That's the other thing. There's so many different leaks. that maybe one of them is real, but because there's so many of them, you don't know which one is, right?
You can still get excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially if it's just word of mouth. It's just like a text. Like it's different if it's like an actual picture of like in-game footage or something. Then that's a little different because that can be less exciting if it actually ends up being true. But if it's just like somebody saying like this is real, like so I could the same as me speculating like Banjo-Kazooie is gonna be in Smash, guys, right here, right now. I'm saying it. Like that's the same. Like if it got announced, you'd still be hyped even if I said it right now. Like whatever. So ones where they actually like show or they have like legit proof that annoy me.
Yeah. Yeah, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee was also leaked. Yeah. That Lapras image that I said was fake was real. But it was a very. But I also made the point when I did say it was fake that if it is real, this is a very early image and it's very blurry and it's not a proper depiction of how good the game looks, and that is true. The game looks a lot better than that image, but it was leaked. It was leaked. So
look like shit. It looks so much better now. Like it's actually a good looking game. Yeah, I think
absolutely. So let me bring up the bonus topic, and of course we'll get some of the more like comments and questions in the chat. So this one, I don't know how long this will be, but we are ending the podcast, so it won't be that long. But Mercury Steam, the developer who helped out with Metroid Samus Returns, I believe they're a Spanish developer. They had an interview and they were talking about how great it was to work with Nintendo, and they were comparing how working with Nintendo was different with other Western developers, publishers, I should say. And they basically said that there's certain pressures that you get from like Western publishers. That there's several different kinds of pressures, like money and budget and release date pressures and all these different things. But for Nintendo, their pressures are all about the quality of the game. Like they do pressure you, but it's all focused on making the game good. They didn't say there weren't any pressures at all related to money or like deadlines, but those were minuscule compared to the focus on quality. So basically, they're just saying that Nintendo, compared to Western developers, they focus more on quality, but other developers care about like everything, like quality, money, like deadlines. So like I guess they're trying to say that Nintendo has this focus on the game design and to make it as good as it can be, right? And that's their focus, and like it makes sense. And if you look at the Nintendo's games in general, I think most people here would agree that they tend to be better than most other games out there. So it's kind of an interesting thing to sort of see like their perspective on how Nintendo is as a publisher compared to Western publishers, and it makes sense to me. This is something that I kind of sort of known about. You like pay attention throughout the different interviews with different Nintendo developers over the years. They've always been gameplay first, right? So I really appreciate that. I love that Nintendo has this overarching philosophy within the company to focus on making the game as good as it can be. Right, and then everything else is an afterthought.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell. Like, their games are some of the most polished games that exist. Like, Breath of the Wild, that's, like, one of the easily the most polished open-world game. Like, you compare that to something like Skyrim or anything like that. Like, I made the point earlier that Bethesda needs to, like, they needed to put some more time into polish. And Nintendo is one of those companies that they really polish their games up to a T. Like, there's...
Yeah, in Bethesda's defense, though, I don't think they are plagued by budget or deadlines like other developers are, though. I think they simply they focus more on ambition and scope for a lot of their games, right? And, the one thing that they don't do is they don't care as much about polishing. That is true, and so if it comes down to releasing the game, right, even though it's a little buggy, they may do that for some of their games, right? So to your point, Nintendo would delay their game until it's polished, right? Like Breath of the Wild probably could have come out in November 2016. It didn't. It was probably because they were polishing all the bugs, like they were getting rid of, making sure it was as polished as possible. It's probably also why the Nintendo Switch didn't come out as well. I think, if I remember correctly, President Kimishima said that the reason why the Nintendo Switch wasn't coming out November 2016. I'll have to go and look. Don't quote me on this because I'm pulling it from the back of my mind, right? Like this could be wrong, so you have to go Google it for yourself if you disbelieve me. But I think he said that the reason Nintendo Switch was coming out in March was because they wanted to make sure that there was a software lineup ready, right? And I'm just kind of filling in the gaps. I assume that maybe they delayed Breath of the Wild without announcing it's delayed because they never give it a set date that it, they want to make sure it had no bugs, right? Well, if it was a Bethesda, they probably would have released it in November regardless and then just patched it later on.
Yeah, that's just the kind of how a lot of Western developers work. That's why you see so many patches. Like games come out, and like especially EA, like they come out and they're just broken, and there's so many issues, and they're like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll fix it in this 10 GB patch coming out in 3 weeks." It's like, okay, why didn't you just delay the game 3 weeks, not come out with a 10 freaking gigabyte patch, and just like had the game working? It's like it almost feels like a lot of Western developers punish people for getting the game on release date. Like if you just wait like a couple months and for all the patches to come out, you get a way better experience. You play through that the second time and you play through that like later, or you play through it again, you'll notice like, oh my gosh, this game is so much better than when I played the first game. It's like they're punishing people who actually want to get the game day one. It's like, okay, stop doing that. Just delay your game a bit and make it actually good so that when I want to play this game, like my first playthrough isn't plagued by bugs and trash. Like I don't care if you patch it. If I already played through the game, I don't give a shit if you patch it because I already played your game. I've already experienced all the bugs.
C&T just subscribed. I'm not even sure he's watching the podcast, but yeah. Sorry, Brandon. I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
No, it's not. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So I think we're in agreement here that Nintendo is awesome. They focus on quality, and because of that, I think they have a very strong fan base who, we love their games because they are really good most of the time. There's exceptions, of course, with every publisher. So, yeah. But, yeah, I guess that's pretty much it, guys. Is there any final things you want to talk about before I call it a night? We call it a night. Brandon, if there's any random thing you want to bring up, go ahead.
Let's see here. I'm just looking over the
Gino
comments.
would be dope, guys. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're going to see Smash at EVO, right? I think that was confirmed. Be good to see. And in terms of a Nintendo Direct, I saw some of you bringing it up. I think it's possible that we can see a Nintendo Direct on Thursday. I think that's the day. Thursday is the day of the week that we usually see Nintendo Directs. Like there's different days, but Thursday is the most common one. So it could happen because they announce them randomly. Like we don't know. We're not gonna know about them a week in advance. Normally they announce them like a day or two in advance. So tomorrow they may announce a Direct. Wednesday they may announce a Direct, and we may get it Thursday. But I'm not holding out on it. It's gonna happen when it happens. It doesn't need to happen in July. It could happen in August. It could happen in September. So
I mean, I have a whole video on it, but just to say my quick thoughts, because you guys should check that video out. It's on my channel, # shameless plug. But just give my thoughts for the podcast.
The link to his channel is in the description as well, so you can probably go there.
It is one of my most recent videos. You should be able to find it pretty easily.
Yeah.
But spoiler for the video, I do not think that there's going to be a Direct this month. And I'm not really sure there's going to be a Direct next month either. I actually give a lot of logical reasoning, facts about what happened last year.
Myths. Illogical myths.
This year, so.
Illogical myths.
Right, yes, exactly. But I give a lot more proof of why I do not think that there's going to be a Direct this month. So, and I also give all my different ideas of what I think is going to be shown in the Direct, so you should definitely check that out. But no, I don't think there's going to be a Direct this month, and no, I was not surprised when Sunday there was not a Direct.
Yeah. Toll House. So, he asked, where did this Simon Belmont hype come from? Did people even want him in previous Smash games? So, well, one, Castlevania is really, it's like a classic franchise, right? And so, there's always been the argument, oh, Castlevania should maybe have representation. But also, with seeing Snake, right, oh, maybe Nintendo could bridge that gap with Konami, and maybe they can introduce another character. That's also kind of enabled the idea of that. But also, there was a rumor suggesting that we would get Simon Belmont, and it also suggested both Ridley and Ice Climbers. So maybe it's true. The rumor also said that technically Simon Belmont wouldn't be shown off at the E3; it'll be shown off later on. So that rumor has not been disproven yet, and the fact that Ice Climbers is not a hard prediction, but predicting Ridley, there was some debate about that. So I think because of that rumor and the other things, and there's also been some Castlevania media going on the last couple of months as well.
There's been that Bloodstained game that are getting people hyped for more Castlevania type games.
And I think they also announced a Castlevania mobile game as well. So for all these different reasons, I think that's why Simon Belmont has kind of come up in conversations on the internet. But I do think Simon Belmont has a good shot. I predict him as a character in Smash Bros. Ultimate. I think it'd be good fit. I think he'd be unique because he has a whip and stuff. It'd be different. So,
yep. Be cool. I need to actually play a Castlevania game.
You really should, man. My favorite. Well, I was introduced to Castlevania on the Nintendo DS. Portrait of Ruin, Dawn of Sorrow. Man, they're so good. Love them. They're really good. Really love them. But yeah, I don't. He might like Castlevania. Sakurai is a real gamer. Like he's a real gamer.
You know what Sakurai likes? Yeah. He likes Xenoblade.
And Ice
Cream. That's why we need more Xenoblade. That's why we need that Rex and Pyra and Smash.
Yeah, but a lot of people are making the argument that Rex and Pyra won't be. I disagree, but people are making the argument that Rex and Pyra won't make it into the main roster because apparently I know about this, but that Sakurai had created the plan for Smash Ultimate at the end of 2015. So, but I don't think that would dissuade Xenoblade Chronicles 2 because just because I had a plan doesn't mean that everything's finalized because game development is fluid. Changes and adaptations happen all throughout the course of the game. So they may have had a rough idea of which characters they would have, and on top of that, one Nintendo team can communicate with another Nintendo team, so they could learn about different games while they're in development, and they can predict if they'll be popular or not. So that could potentially happen. But on top of that, even if they don't do any of that and they don't decide they want Rex and Pyra in the game until after Xenoblade Chronicles 2 comes out, it doesn't take that long to make one character. Right, like if they were planning that they may add a couple characters in the last year of development, Rex and Pyra could be one of them. So I don't think that plan means that they won't make it into the game.
Right. And there's always the DLC. So
right, and they could also potentially just be a DLC character. That's also true. Yeah.
Yeah, because I kind of do understand that maybe it's a little because it came out December. It's only a year between Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And the game, maybe that's a little late. Typically, Smash is a little late on the uptake with adding new characters in to the Smash. So sometimes it can be and you have to wait till the next Smash game. So, but I could definitely see DLC. I don't think this is one of those where it's oh, we're not getting him till Smash 6. I don't think that's happening. So I think they're going to be in there, either the base or in DLC.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, yeah, I guess that's it, guys. I think we've reached the natural conclusion for this podcast. It doesn't look we had any interruptions. So, just random, backstory for what's been going on with me. So, I moved in, been in this place for about a week now. Last Monday, I wanted to do the podcast, right? I had moved in a day before, but the internet was supposed to be set up on Monday. Actually, I moved in a few days before that, but whatever. The internet was supposed to be set up last Monday, and it was set up for 2 hours. And then it went out. And then we had to call a technician back for the second day. And apparently, by his estimation, that because we live in a townhouse and there's people that live below us, so the power box for our internet was put into their garage, right? Because he didn't have the okay from our landlord to drill holes in the top wall, so he just wanted to put it in the garage. So that's what happened on the first day, and then when he came on the second day, he deduced that they simply unplugged our power box because apparently our neighbors hate us. Apparently also we're messing with our mailbox, but that's a whole other legal issue that may come up, may not, hopefully not. But anyways, so we had to call the technician in for the second day, and that's what he said would happen. So then he changed it, and then after 2 hours, the internet went out again on Tuesday. Why did that happen? Well, he came back on the third day, and he said, oh, there was a faulty line or whatever. So then he sets up the internet again on the third day, and he puts everything up in our house, so no one can mess with our stuff. He rewires everything, and then the internet's working most of the time out on the third day. On the third visit, it starts working most of the time. However, throughout the course of the week, it's randomly gone out for like moments, and that was really concerning. Then eventually I reset the router, and it has gone out randomly a couple times since I reset the router, but for the most part, it's been consistent, and I was concerned if we did this podcast, it would just randomly stop randomly. That was redundant, but whatever. It hasn't, I think, so good. So hopefully I don't have to worry about the internet debacle anymore. But I think it would be ridiculous if I had to have a technician come for a fourth time just to set up internet.
Oh my god.
I think it's already ridiculous, but you know, whatever. Yeah. So, and yeah, Sabbath, I'm liking the new place. Yeah, and oh, thanks to Hoss for watching, man. I'm glad that you listen in on our thoughts. So yeah, guys, make sure to check out Brandon from What About Nintendo. The link to his channel is in the description below. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, like the video. We would really appreciate it, and we will see you all really soon. I'm sorry, it's late. I'm tired, but whatever. All right, bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Where's the off button? See how prepared and ready I am.
Professionals.
Professionals, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Good night.